Cancel the funeral. The Chiefs get off the mat, find some offense in the second half, and then in OT, a game-winning kick from Harrison Butker. They're not done yet, folks. The Chiefs back above 500, and with this win, according to our Sportsline projection, now a 67% chance to make the playoffs. It's going to be a long way back in the division, but you can see it. You also have some wild card opportunities there. They stare into the abyss, and then they stare down one of the best as they beat the Colts 23-20. Back in studio alongside Ryan McVeigh, Joe Musso, your host. Mac, this was a Chiefs team that trailed by 11. They were starting to pen those obituaries because with a loss here, the unlikelihood went through the roof. With a win here, the hope is back alive. We're not yet seeing the Chiefs team that we need to see, but they at least keep hope alive for another week. What stands out in terms of the way that they responded in the second half?
Just the grit. You know, starting with their star quarterback in Pat Mahomes, he wasn't at his best. He wasn't super accurate today, but he hit the will that he displayed to not lose this ball game was felt, and we saw others pick up the same vibe, especially with the offensive end. I mean, Kareem Hunt went back to the young Kareem Hunt, over 100 yards on the ground. Rashee Rice, even though he didn't score a touchdown, what he did in moving the chains was felt as well, over 100 yards through the air. So collectively speaking, offensively, they made the necessary plays, and their defense kept them afloat. Because it was moments, Joe, when we were watching this ball game, we were like, what's going on with Pat Mahomes? Like, what's happening? But their defense said, Jonathan Taylor, you will not hit us with that silly that you've been doing week in and week out in the end zone. 1 foot tap, 1 foot tap. I mean, they neutralized him. I mean, he only had, 58 yards for the entire ball game. Yep. Averaged 3.6 yards per toe. That's not Jonathan Taylor-like football, and they didn't allow any splash plays. I mean, Daniel Jones, when you look at the first half, it felt like they were going to run away with this ball game, the Colts. But we saw the championship adjustments made by Andy Reid, made by Steve Spagnuolo, that made this a much-needed win become a reality for the Chiefs. 7
of those 20 as well set up on a pick almost 6 by Patrick Mahomes early in this game as well, continuing to make mistakes in the red area, whether it be his backed up or a week ago trying to go in and score a touchdown. So this defense did show up and play some elite football today for the Kansas City Chiefs, who keep hope alive in the form of this win. You talk about Patrick Mahomes, 29 of 46 for 352, none to the end zone, and that pick we mentioned a moment ago. In terms of those empty calories, if you will, or moving the ball up and down the field, where are you seeing the disconnect right now? Because it feels like Mahomes' production is coming almost exclusively outside the pocket right now.
Outside the pocket, he's improvising, where we love to see him improvise, but eventually you will love to see more rhythm-like efficiency within the passing game. And then because of the lack of rhythm in between the 20s, they become stagnant in the red zone because there's only so much improvising you can do when the field is shortened, when you're in the red area like he does in between the 20s. Joe, red zone opportunities, they were 1 of 6.
Yeah.
1 of 6 in the red zone. Usually, I don't know what the numbers say, but I'm just giving you my opinion. 85% chance you losing ball games when you're 1 of 6.
I'll mark it down for 85.
Courtesy coming from BMAC Inc., right? 1 of 6 in the red zone. But that's the thing. They got to find a way to establish some type of red zone efficiency. And I think if they can run the football better or add a little more speed or pizzazz to the offense, maybe they can score touchdowns. Today, it almost hurt them, but they didn't. But you can't continue to be 1 of 6 in the red zone, settling for field goals or settling for turnover downs and expect to win.
All right, let's look at this result through the lens of the Indianapolis Colts, because this is one of those litmus tests. I know KC's down and even 5-5 coming into this game. You're still talking about the representative in the AFC the last 3 seasons. You're talking about a dynastic run that you're on. And you're talking about going into Arrowhead to try and win one. Unable to accomplish that, what did Indy show you in this 60 minutes?
Indy showed me that there are some holes within their team. Defensively, they couldn't get off the football field. They couldn't get the necessary stops, right? They allowed Rashee Rice just to have his way. Now, when you look at having Ward back in the lineup and, of course, Sauce Gardner, they can command the interior. But you need to get more in terms of the interior of the coverage side of things, and that's where Rashee Rice made a lot of his damage. And then what's the game plan when Jonathan Taylor isn't running for 100 plus?
Yeah.
Right? What's the game plan? Get more guys involved. When you look at their skill position players, guys, viewers, you got Tyler Warren, you got Michael Pittman, you got Alec Pierce, you got Downs, you got guys who can move the chains for you, but it felt like they became a bit too generic in my opinion. Look at how they start. Look at the first 3 or 4 drives of the game for Indianapolis, and look at how they finished the game. It felt like they became a bit passive. That led the window of opportunity for the Chiefs.
Interesting. This outcome, this 60-plus minutes of football, the Kansas City Chiefs back above 500. For all those that were ready to write off, not so fast. There is more high-level football to be played. Kansas City with plenty to clean up, but when you got that man in overtime in the regular season, you know how it goes. We say hello to the man from Kansas City. CBS Sports lead analyst Tony Romo joins us now with his thoughts. Tony, the largest fourth-quarter comeback of Patrick Mahomes' storied career, 11 points chasing in that fourth. Sort of hope does this imbue in a team that needed it in the worst way?
Yeah. Well, if they needed it, they needed it today. I mean, their backs were against the wall, and in so many ways, the fate of the season and how it can go from here came down to today. And then you could shorten that and say it came down to the fourth quarter and even later in the fourth quarter. But boy, did he show up. He almost willed his team to get back to within one score. And then at the end, I mean, he just does what he always does. But I really feel like Steve Spagnuolo and this defense, they showed you something at the end. I mean, this is the #1 offense in the National Football League. And I think they literally held them to the last 4 drives and no points and made them punt on 3 and outs at least 3 or 4 of those times. So to me, that combination still makes it scary for opponents going forward.
I'm glad you take us there, Tony, because in the midst of this call, I believe in the second or third quarter, you said Shane Steichen is calling a perfect game right now, and it felt that way. Efficiency, productivity, defensively, they're pressuring the quarterback. From a defensive standpoint for Spags' group, was there a schematic change? Was there a moment in this ballgame that you point to when it sort of flipped?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he decided, like, it's almost like data. When you go against a team as good as Indianapolis, if you decide I'm going to go ahead and take this away or I'm going to do this, and they're like, that's fine, we'll do this, they can gash you left and right, whether it's in the run, inside, outside, throw to Pittman, throw to Warren. It doesn't matter. They have so many different options. So they obviously tried to take away the focal point, which is Taylor, just cut the head off the snake, and they did a really pretty darn good job of that today. But in doing so, you left these other unsung hero guys catch these big plays in the first half. Well, those plays were by design. Indianapolis had a bye week, and they game planned this to be like, they're going to take away Warren, Pittman, Taylor. Well, then who should get the ball? So you go to Dolan and all the other guys, and you found that those plays, but there's only so many of those plays you can come up with. And once those plays kind of ran out, you found that Kansas City was able to expose them a little bit.
Good enough in this one, Kansas City, but you're only good as your next. And we got a great one coming up next between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day on CBS. Tony, I mean, story writes itself. 2 brand names, the current dynasty, a past dynasty. When you look forward to that matchup on short rest, what Kansas City has to do to beat this Dallas team and keep hope alive once again, what might be the narrative headed into that one?
That's a great question. I feel like right now this is going to be a real interesting game between Dallas and Philadelphia. If Dallas somehow beats Philadelphia after the trade, I saw Quinnen Williams last week. He's a monster. He's incredible inside. This defense looked way better. The offense looked outstanding. We know they're good. If that happens, and the reps and experience they've had under Eberflus now, that means that all of a sudden Dallas is coming on as one of the better teams and has a shot to make a run. That turns into another mini playoff game for both teams. But I just feel like next week is going to be who has the ability in a short week to get healthy and to get themselves in a position to say, you've got to play it like a playoff game. You saw that. Kansas City ran the ball 30 times to Kareem Hunt today. I can't remember how many times they've done that. You know why? Because it was the safe play. It was the right play, and our season's on the line. You'll see the same thing on Thursday from both teams.
We'll see who can get right on the holiday. Tony Romo and our team with the NFL on CBS continuing to bring us all the best. Thank you, Tony.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Oh, what a fun one from
Today on Chiefs Kingdom Report, we witnessed something that felt bigger than one win, bigger than one comeback, bigger than one game. What we saw this Sunday was the heartbeat of a franchise refusing to die. With the season hanging by a thread and the football world already preparing the eulogies for the Mahomes era, the Kansas City Chiefs saved their season in the most Kansas City Chiefs way possible. It was emotional, it was tense, it was ugly at times, and yet it was absolutely beautiful. Because when everything pointed toward collapse, this team chose to fight. Let's rewind to what this game looked like late in the third quarter. 1 minute and 26 seconds remained when Colts kicker Michael Badgley drilled a 23-yard field goal to put Indianapolis up 29. And at that exact moment, it felt like the Chiefs' season was slipping away. The Chiefs, sitting at 5-5, were staring at the possibility of a losing record in the second half of a season for the first time in the entire Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes era. They were staring at their first year without playoffs since 2014, and their first losing season in more than a decade. The weight of every narrative, every criticism, every doubt came crashing down on that sideline. And then, something changed, something familiar, something this franchise has built an entire legacy around. The Chiefs started playing like a team with everything on the line, and the Colts, somehow, started playing like a team with nothing left to fight for. From that moment forward, Indianapolis never scored again. The momentum shifted, the energy changed, and Kansas City entered that familiar mode where Mahomes, even in this more difficult season, reminds the world that he is still the most dangerous player in football when the moment becomes urgent. Let's talk about those final drives. The Colts had 4 possessions to close this game out, 4 chances to put the Chiefs away. They went 3 and out on all 4 of them and gained a total of 18 yards. 18. And the most shocking part? They handed the ball to Jonathan Taylor, an MVP candidate and one of the most dominant running backs in football, only twice. That decision alone is the kind of coaching nightmare people in Indianapolis will be talking about for years. But make no mistake, the Chiefs' defense deserves credit for suffocating every attempt the Colts made to close out the game. While Indianapolis folded, Kansas City rose. The Chiefs gained 231 yards in their final 4 drives. This wasn't the fast-striking, explosive, deep-shot version of the Kansas City offense that NFL fans grew used to seeing in past years. This was a grind, a slow, relentless, physically punishing grind that wore the Colts defense down snap by snap. 3 drives of 11 plays, 15 plays, 12 plays, no gimmicks, no miracles, just execution, just toughness, just the will to survive. And for the first time this season, the Chiefs had both a 100-yard rusher and a 100-yard receiver. Kareem Hunt delivered 104 yards on 30 carries and punched in a critical touchdown that brought Kansas City within striking distance. Rashee Rice, the young playmaker the Chiefs desperately needed to break out, erupted for 141 yards on 8 receptions. And one play in particular changed everything. Mahomes' 11-yard pass to Rice with 4:34 left in the fourth quarter, a routine completion that Rice transformed into a 47-yard explosion, flipping the field from the Kansas City 3-yard line to midfield. That play was the heartbeat restarting. That play was the spark. It was the moment everyone felt the comeback becoming real. From that point forward, the Chiefs suffocated the Colts by keeping their offense off the field and forcing their defense to breathe through a straw. Every snap drained energy, drained clock, drained hope. And then we reached overtime. And once again, the Colts coaching staff made a decision that will haunt them. Defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo decided to blitz Mahomes despite dominating all game by rushing 4 and dropping 7. Against the blitz late in the fourth quarter and overtime, Mahomes completed 5 of 7 for 71 yards. And the biggest one came with just over 5 minutes left in overtime, a 31-yard dart to Xavier Worthy that took Kansas City from their own 24-yard line into Colts territory. 6 plays later, Harrison Butker ended the game with a 27-yard field goal, completing the comeback and reviving the Chiefs' season. This game was about survival. This game was about will. This game was about refusing to let a season slip away. The Chiefs entered this matchup 0-5 in one-score games this year, the complete opposite of their NFL record-breaking run of 17 one-score wins across the 2023 and 2024 seasons. But today, they did not wait for luck. They did not wait for fortune. They took control. They imposed their will. They saved their season with grit, toughness, and the same championship DNA that has kept this team alive through every challenge over the last half-decade. Is this win proof that the Chiefs are fully back? Not yet. The defense still has real issues against disciplined, well-coached offenses. The offense still mixes moments of brilliance with stretches of inconsistency. But this is absolutely a message. Do not count Kansas City out. Do not fall for the trap of believing this team is done. The NFL's most resilient force, the team that simply refuses to die, is still alive. And if you are a fan, you know exactly what that means. Mahomes is still standing. Kelce is still fighting. Rashee Rice is finally becoming a weapon. Kareem Hunt is running like a man possessed. The defense, even with flaws, is still capable of game-changing stretches. And Andy Reid still holds the keys. If there is playoff hope, the Chiefs are a threat. And after today, that hope is very much alive. Now, I want to hear from you. Did this comeback prove the Chiefs are still dangerous? Do you believe this win will spark a late-season run? Drop your thoughts in the comments, leave a like if you believe Kansas City isn't done yet, and subscribe to Chiefs Kingdom Report so you never miss a moment of this comeback story. The season isn't over, not even close. The Kansas City Chiefs are still here.